Hi there, this is NikitaNet and currently I'm out and about. So I'm going to get the camera ready and we'll talk about what I'm doing here. So let's get started. So I'm outside, hopefully I'm in frame, otherwise, well, I'll just step back a bit. But the scene I'm looking at is of the European Patent Office. Well, I'll show you in a bit. The point of this little exercise is to enhance my technique for, well, videography and photography, and specifically, well, teach myself the fundamentals, because with this nice little Sony NEX3N I've always exposed to my own taste, but there's real technique behind proper exposure of photography and videography. And outside at f16 at ASA or ISO 100 and 100th of a second shutter time on a bright sunny day, you should have perfect exposure unless you're in the snow or on a beach, right? Reflective sunshine from the ground basically. But if you don't have that, you should have proper exposures. Well, this camera doesn't do ISO 100, it does at a minimum ISO 200, so you have to account for that because there's a stop of light difference, which means you have to, well, basically reduce the shutter time because you're getting extra light sensitivity on the, well, the film, or in this case the sensor. And I'm currently looking at this screen and I know it's not a perfect, well, exposure because it's not the height of summer. Currently the sun is right there at that level about, or at least about that level. It's the end of November, so it's almost winter or proper winter. And I'm seeing an exposure value, EV, of minus 0.3. And I'm going to start recording this because apparently, well, we just missed a train there. There's some train tracks right there. But this scene, according to the camera and according to the time of year, is underexposed at f16 at least. So let's add a stop of light by, well, closing down, no, opening up the aperture by one stop. And currently this is, well, with a lot of shadow, properly exposed according to this camera with an EV of 0. In the background, hopefully, at least you can see right now, the European Patent Office. Now, to our right there is a little lake. Let's pan over and I'll tell you, this thing, well, this scene has, and I can't really see it even, but let's get some sky in there as well, but this scene has an EV of minus 1.3, so 1 1/3 stop of light from ideal exposure. I can't simulate a third of a stop with this lens at least, but I can add a stop of light by going to f8. And hopefully everything is properly, well, in focus, although I doubt that. Let's play a little bit with that. So now the trees are both in the foreground, these trees and those trees are in focus, according to at least the focus peaking I've got on this camera. I'm still a third of a stop shy of perfect exposure. Let's add some sky and see, yes, there we are. So according to the camera at, well, not 1/100th of a second, but 1/200th of a second shutter time at ISO 200, this is perfect exposure. Now, I'm missing depth of field, most likely in this image, but let's do some funky stuff, because this is of course teaching myself. I'm just taking you along. I'm going to add or subtract a stop of light by speeding up the shutter time to 1/4 or 1/400th of a second and adding yet another stop of light right here. And am I doing this correctly? Hopefully, at least. So, right. I'm betting I'm not properly in focus. Hello. Really difficult to see on this tiny little screen. But currently I'm at, well, let's add a little bit of light again from the sky, because we have changing light right now. But currently I'm at EV0. So this should be properly exposed on the average at least. Okay, let me recompose, or at least try something else and see if I can get perfect focus somewhere in this. Well, I can do a little trick with that, and that is switching from automatic on this manual lens to fully manual, which means opening up this lens completely, plus 1 EV, and now I should be able to, right, when I stop recording, zoom in a little bit and get perfect focus. Ooh. Somewhere within the scene. And this lens is extremely soft, unfortunately. So, okay. Right, switching to automatic. And now I'm a third of the stop under EV, so minus 0.3. I can remedy that by adding a stop of light, or at least a third of a stop. Can I? Yes. So this is shutter time of 1/320th of a second, EV0 ISO 200. Very nice. I'm at f5.6 currently. Difficult scene, of course, but hey, according to the camera, this is properly exposed. Let's stop this and add a third of a stop yet again, or around that. So according to the camera, this is overexposed at 1/250th of a second, although I'm seeing still EV0. We're getting less light. So let's switch back to 1/200th of a second, and let's see. Yes. And according to the camera, this is properly exposed. Very nice, right? No. Shallow depth of field because it's f5.9. Now, here comes the trickery. Let's go to 1/50th of a second. So that's 2 stops of light difference, which means this thing is very much overexposed, but we can go depth of field plus 2 stops. So we really have changing light at the moment. I'm at an EV of plus 0.3, 1/50th of a second, ISO 200, and let's see f11. I want to go back to f16 just to compare. Minus 0.3. So this thing doesn't really do picture perfect EV exposure value calculations, but I'm guessing this is acceptable, hopefully at least. Let's go back to the European Patent Office right there, and we're seeing, because of more bright skies, we're seeing plus 0.3. Let's go to 70 or 80. 70, 60, right? No. 125th of a second, so that's a little more light, or a little less light. One thing you really do need to know when you're doing stuff like this is stop practicing at a certain point when you're running into errors. I am, however, going to grab another lens, reset this setup and try it with that while we're more zoomed into that thing, because this, once again, is a very soft lens. Hopefully it's in focus. So, this is Nikita saying I hope you found this video interesting. Like or dislike this video at your pleasure, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and well, if you do subscribe to the channel, please do click the bell so you get all updates from this channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.